The OTA patch is live and it looks like a few cards had to die for Arishem since. Starting with the biggest change to Loki that we've ever seen. Loki went from a 4-5 on reveal, transform your hand into cards from your opponent's starting deck and give them -1 cost, to a 3-5 with an on reveal that reads, replace your deck with your opponent's starting deck. Give those cards -1 cost and draw a card. That means that whenever you play Loki, your whole remaining deck is replaced with 12 cards from your opponent's starting deck. Note, you will not get the Thanos stones if playing against Thanos, and you will also not get the evolved versions of cards if playing against High Evo. Loki still has the energy cheat of -1 cost, and you also get to draw a card when you play him, but this is a huge nerf to Loki. Loki no longer works with cards that add cards to your hand, like Snowguard, Cable, or Agent Coulson, and if you are playing Arishem and your hand is rubbish, you can no longer just magically replace it with your opponent's cards, gaining both intel and, in most cases, useful cards that cost less to play. Does this effectively kill Loki? Well, I don't think so. He's just not completely unfair in an Arishem deck anymore. Yes, you still get the energy cheat with him, but he's no longer going to replace your useful Arishem hand with usable cheap cards. You actually have to draw those cards in order to use them. Yes, you can play Loki on turn 2 with Arishem, but you'll be getting a maximum of 5 discounted cards with him in a normal, non-limbo game, not counting any card drawing locations or Crystal or Adam Warlock. And you won't know what card is coming next, making it harder to judge whether you can actually win the game or not. I really like this change to Loki. You guys know I've been complaining about Loki ever since he came out, and I really like the solution that the devs have come to. I would have liked to see Loki work the way he did before, but without the energy cheat, but I do appreciate the fact that devs don't actually want to kill Loki as a card, unlike me. I'm really looking forward to seeing what decks the new Loki is going to thrive in. The usual library cards no longer work with him, so we'll have to wait and see where his new home is. Maybe it's finally Adam Warlock's time to shine? Another hateful card that is being nerfed again is Leech, who went from a 5-5 on reveal, removed the text from cards with on reveal abilities in your opponent's hand, to 4-4 on reveal, remove the text from 6 cost cards in your opponent's hand. Leech was already nerfed before from affecting all cards to affecting on reveal cards only, and now he will only affect 6 cost cards. This means that Leech can no longer protect you from devastating tech cards that are usually dropped on last turn like Shang-Chi, Shadow King, Red Guardian, Cannonball, and many others. I haven't had a lot of encounters with Leech myself because I've mainly been playing this move Thena deck that doesn't really have a lot of on-reveal cards, but I can imagine how frustrating he has been against other decks. I loved it when my opponents played Leech because it just meant that I can still play my cards and they just lost a lot of tempo by playing Leech. I don't think this change will kill Leech completely because it's a lot easier now to offset the tempo loss by playing him on turn 4 and blinking him out on turn 5, which would have been impossible before unless you were playing Arishem or had played Electro. It will definitely reduce his play rate though, since he will only affect 6 cost cards. The biggest losers here will definitely be Hela, Blob, Alioth, Doom, Ultron, Odin, Zola, and Ultron. There's Galactus of course, but no one really plays him seriously anymore. Next, we have another card that has been dominating in Arishem decks, Doctor Octopus, who went from a 5-10 on reveal, pull 4 cards from your opponent's hand to their side of this location, to 4-8 on reveal, pull the lowest power card from your opponent's hand to their side of this location. So now he only pulls 1 card that is lowest power from your opponent's hand. Being able to play Dr. Octopus on turn 4 has made him super popular in Arishem decks. It has been incredibly frustrating having one of your locations being completely clogged on turn 4. Again, I've been playing my Thena move deck for most of my Deadpool's Dynamite Climb, and I actually welcomed Dr. Octopus because it usually meant I was getting a free Vision, Jeff, Nocturne, plus extra power in that location. I'm not sure about the new Dr. Octopus. On one hand, he now dodges Shang-Chi, but on the other hand, you're going to work a lot harder to clog his location, which I'm sure is what the devs intended. Also, you'll have to be very careful playing him when facing junk decks because he'll always pull their goblins. And I can definitely see some Iron Man being pulled into the location as well. But he can still be a great disruptor of combo decks, and he can even help you with pulling your opponent's important tech cards like Shadow King or Shang-Chi, so your bigger cards are protected. I'm excited to see where this new Dr. Octopus ends up in the meta. The last card that died for Arishem Sins is Blob. Blorb went from 6-0 on reveal, merge cards from your deck into this until it gains 15 or more power, to 6-0 on reveal, merge cards from your deck into this until it gains 13 or more power. The difference in power might not seem like much, but it can make all the difference when it matters. There have been so many times when my opponent won a location by 1 or 2 power just from playing their blob there and nothing else. And of course, he has been one of the best performing cards in Arishem decks ever since Arishem came out. This is his second nerf since the Arishem launch, and it seems like one nerf just wasn't enough. Most of the time, there's literally no downside to playing Blob for Arishem decks. The addition of 12 extra cards guaranteed his power every game, even if he ate a goblin or two. Hopefully, this change will mean that Blob is no longer just a win dislocation card anymore. Next is another card that has been dominating the meta, finding its way into over 17% of decks in the top 10% of infinite ranks according to UntapGG. White Widow has been consistently popular ever since her release, not just in junk decks but in all kinds of decks, from control and mill to good cards and even Sandman. The pressure to fill her location or suffer the negative -4 power makes her an incredibly strong card. Widow's Kiss went from 0-0 ongoing, this has -4 power, disable this ability if your side of this location is full, to 0-0 ongoing, this has -3 power, disable this ability if your side of this location is full. It is only 1 power difference, making White Widow a 2-5 instead of 2-6 if your opponent doesn't end up filling her location. Still very respectable stats, but not as dominating. The small change in power will not kill White Widow, as she's still incredibly good at controlling how your opponent plays their cards. Most of the time they will try to fill her location to avoid the negative power from Widow's Kiss. And she's still as good at clogging location as before. She was definitely too strong the way she was released, so I'm glad she's being reined in a little bit now. I'm quite happy about the next change, which is a reversal of an earlier nerf of Apocalypse. A while ago, Apocalypse was mysteriously nerfed from 6-8 to 6-6 just because discard decks were a little bit popular. The horror. Now the nerf is being reversed and Apocalypse is back to being 6-8. Will that make him more playable now in combination with Moon Knight's recent buff? We'll have to wait and see. But after playing Moon Knight in an Apocalypse deck, he felt kinda meh, so I don't think that's where his home is. This card is still not where it used to be pre-Chavez change, but this could help make it just that tiny bit stronger. Lastly, we have a change to War Machine, who I don't think I've seen played outside of Arishem decks that randomly generated him. Ever since Professor X's rework, I don't really see either of these cards, and the latest change to Thanos' Space Stone basically made War Machine obsolete. The change to War Machine is rather boring. He's going from 6 power to 7 power, and his text remains unchanged. I don't think this change is going to make a huge difference to his play rate, I have to be honest. He's good in some niche scenarios when you need to get into locked locations like Sanctum Sanctorum or Kiln, but I don't see him being popular in the current meta. These are all the changes from today's OTA patch, and I gotta say I'm very happy about almost all of them. The Loki nerf is long overdue. I'm sorry Loki fans, but I'm not really sorry. Honestly, Loki season is when I seriously considered stopping playing Marvel Snap, and I hated that Arishem made him popular again. I'm also happy whenever Leech gets nerfed. He's such a feel-bad card whenever played against you, and with Blink being introduced, a lot of the time you're not even losing tempo playing him. I'll honestly be happy if I never see another Loki or Leech again. I definitely feel like Doctor Octopus and Blob got hit because of their popularity in Arishem decks. Doctor Octopus was never an issue before players were able to get him out consistently on turn 4, and Blob has already been nerfed from his dominating days. It wouldn't surprise me if down the line, once Arishem hype dies down a little bit, we'll get an Arishem nerf too, but that probably won't happen for at least 6 months. What are your thoughts on this patch? Are you happy with the changes? I know there will be a lot of people unhappy with the Loki change. Loki has some die-hard fans, especially among more casual players. I would love to hear your thoughts on the matter. As always, I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye!